Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, that was an
Ayo.
awful hi from me. Um, Welcome back to this awful shit show we call a podcast. Um, Hi, it's your boy Ethan once again on the mic, and joined by good friends who may introduce themselves.
I am Ben.
Has been.
Hi, Bean.
Hello.
I, I am Andrew.
Yeah, I'm Elias.
All right. So yeah, no. First things first to kind of get things squared away. Um, we have a important news update. We're not doing news anymore.
The news is there's no more news.
Exactly. So the big thing is just that news is a very time sensitive thing, and if you're listening to the previous episodes before you hit this one, and you check the upload dates of those versus when we're talking about these stories, you'll find that they're most certainly nowhere near relevant anymore. And that's understandable. All of us who work on this, we all have lives outside of this. We're not getting paid to do this. We have jobs and whatever that we have to do on top of all of this. So, schedules run behind and whatever. So, to just kind of make things easier on everybody, we are ditching news. That just kind of makes these things more time relevant. They age better. If we wanted to go back, 5 years from now and cringe at this, we can. And, it's not like, oh, what was that weird thing that happened with Capcom or EA or whatever from, that long ago, whatever. It doesn't matter. We could just be like, oh, hey, here's a funny hee-hoo discussion. And, it just remains timeless, We're here to age like a fine wine. So,
Yes.
Yes, that is the essence of true art, is the timeless factor.
Yes, very much so. So yeah, no, it's nothing to really worry about here. So we're changing things up a little bit. So first off, what we used to do is that, of course, and if you know this, then whatever, but we would start off by talking about like a select number of news topics, and then we go into a section of what we've been playing for the past week. Well, we're going to switch things up. We're going to start off by talking about the video games in which that we've been playing, but we're going to counteract that at the after that section is done with, where we're going to have a big discussion, mainly just a centralized topic of the week that we wanted to talk about. And the main thing that kind of inspired this is that we'd like to thank Ben for having a interesting discussion with us about achievement hunting last episode, and that was a lot of fun. And I kind of sat there and I thought about it for a little bit, and I was like, you know what, I kind of like that more than talking about news anyway, and with the time-sensitive nature of it, and I was like, hey, why don't we just do this? And we all unanimously agreed, so, so here we are. We're going to start off by talking about what we've have play this week and the like. Let's start things off, a bit more different this time. We're gonna have Elias go first. Elias, what video games have you been playing this week?
I have a lot this time.
Look at you, you're like me.
4. I have 4. Okay, so number 1, based off of, and this is what I love about this podcast, based off of Ethan's initial recommendation off our top 10 of the last generation of consoles, and then hearing Andrew start playing it, I started Doom 2016 as well. That has been so much fun. I think, how many hours I have in this already? I was checking out Steam. 6.6 hours already. So
Whoa.
that's been fun. It's everything I'd hoped it would be, and a little bit more. It was funny because the initial the first level that you come out of the tutorial section is like, okay, here's the little world, right? And so I started going through it. I got lost when it was such a very straightforward, just go straight, and I somehow got lost. So I was a little annoyed there. But after that, I was like, okay, I kind of get the gist of it. And I was like, okay, we can do this. So now that I have every single gun unlocked, well, not every single one, I guess, because there's new guns I'm getting, but all the base weapons on the weapon wheel and things like that unlocked. It's like, okay, cool. This is fun. It's just a chaotic, jumping around, basically avoiding attacks and just switching weapons constantly. Let's just say I got really good with my scroll wheel. Uh, but yeah, it's been fun. I'm excited to finish it. This might be one of those games I actually tried 100%.
Yeah,
So
no, it's a lot
we'll
of fun
see.
to 100%. Because again, like
Yeah.
I don't know if when I played it on Xbox, if I got all the achievements in the Xbox version, but I did get the Platinum Trophy when I played it on the PlayStation 4, and I don't think I've gotten all the base achievements on Steam yet, but I mean, I've already done it all on PlayStation before, so it's kind of like, yeah, whatever, but I mean, I might do it, but Steam's achievement system is really weird, how it includes DLC achievements in the total percentage. There's no separate bars for measuring out the completions. So even if I do be like, yeah, I completed everything in the base game, I have all the multiplayer bullshit that's still there, and I don't care to do that.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It is fun though. I really do enjoy just the shooting aspect. I haven't played a shooter like seriously in a while, so Doom has been really nice. Because like I mean I've been playing Payday as well every once in a while, but like that one is just a memorized game at this point. It's not that hard. But like Doom is like I have to actually concentrate and shoot things. So it's been nice. It's been nice to have that again, especially since I retired from my CS:GO days and like haven't really touched shooters since. So, but there's that. Second game I've been playing was Danganronpa, which it's a murder mystery visual novel. You interact with characters and kind of figure out what the heck happened, kind of a thing.
Yep, and there's a teddy bear.
And there's a teddy bear. He's awful, and I love him. I gave him a Mickey Mouse voice, but that game has been fun for very different reasons than Doom. A friend of mine that had played it before was like, "Hey, you need to play this because I think you'll like it." So I was like, "Okay, cool." So I bought it, and he's making me stream it to him as he takes notes and watches how I play it and like tries to analyze my play style, which is really weird. But he forced me to I guess he didn't force me, but he said, "Hey, do voices for all the characters." So it's been fun to like try my own hand at like voice acting for that. And God, I put myself in a rut with some of the characters. Let's just say Monokuma's Mickey Mouse, and then like some of the characters have like the graveliest voices, which I can't do low and gravelly, but we're going for it. And then switching between Batman-esque garbage to Mickey Mouse, and then to like a soft girl voice. It's hard. My throat hurts. It's been hurting a lot. But that one's been fun. It's really well put together. So far really intriguing. The little mini games during the trial phase are interesting. I don't know how much I want to say about it, but like if you like murder mystery stuff, it has like an anime package to it, obviously, because it's anime-esque. But I also would recommend that. Yeah, I honestly recommend that to anyone who likes murder mystery stuff, or like solving a puzzle, because they set it up really well, and there's some really good twists and turns to it where they really try to like give you multiple suspects and you have to really narrow it down. So it's definitely really cool. And then there's two more. One of them I barely played, and then the other one I kind of played a little bit more. So the third one is Yakuza 0. I decided I wanted to get into the Yakuza games.
Ooh.
So they started with 0?
Started with 0 because I was looking online to see like story wise what's best or how you like to play it. So they were saying story based wise 0 is the best because it's the prequel. It kind of leads into the other ones as well. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll start with 0 because if it means like timeline wise, I'll be straightforward. That's nice. But yeah, that's been fun. Of course, playing it in Japanese, I have learned much of slang, and I don't understand the Yakuza, what's it called, dialect. That's hard. It got to one of the scenes where he's talking. Nice job. It got to one of the scenes where Kiryu is talking to like the little like, not mob bosses, but like his bosses basically, because they think he killed someone. And I tried just listening and not looking at the subtitles that were in Japanese to kind of help me figure out the words. I could not understand a single word they said because all I hear is grumbly man voice of right, and then like all I could hear was the yeah. He's just like and I'm like yeah. I'm scared now but then I look at subtitles and it fixes it because I can at least read the kanji. But like even then, they do a lot of slang words, or like they misuse a kanji or something on purpose because it like means something different to them. And so I'm sitting there like, but you said kitchen, but like that you're not talking about a kitchen here. So that's been fun to like try to piece together what half the words mean. But for the most part, I do kind of get what's going on.
Yeah, I
but
think it
it's a
really
hard one.
helps that you're. I think what makes that so interesting is that, I mean, again, Yakuza is an inherently Japanese series that is very much about like, not necessarily like, I guess it's like modern not necessarily modern, but I guess like Japanese life as it's more day-to-day stuff. It's not necessarily like
It
the
really
grand
is,
epic
it's
scales
interesting.
and the like. It's more again grounded in reality. I mean, it's Yakuza, so it's not really grounded in reality, but I mean,
Oh yeah, no, not at all.
yeah,
It's so
not
much
at
fun,
all. But it's definitely more.
The setting it's in is grounded in reality, but the characters themselves are not. Which
Yeah.
is a very cool juxtaposition where like your character feels like a god, but then the world you're in is just so normal looking, and they do a really good job of immersing you in that
I
world.
think that might be the best way to do like absurdity. Is like you start
Oh,
off
yeah,
you
yeah,
start off very grounded, right? But then you like continually ramp it up until it gets crazy.
Yeah, because I got to the point, and I hate. Okay, I'm having some struggles with it because I don't know what is wrong with Steam, but it just does not allow for my PS4 controller to like have support for any of these games, even though it says it's supposed to. So I opened the game, and people were recommending big picture mode. So I was like, okay, cool. So I opened in big picture, and it connected. It was like, cool. It's using my PS4 controller, but all the controls were backwards because it was showing me the Xbox layout for the controls, but it had them set up in the Japanese PS4 setup. And so basically, where B is supposed to be is where X is on the Xbox controller. And so I would have to hit the X on the Xbox controller, which is square for me, but it puts the circle input. And so, and so half the time it gets to the you do these karaoke scenes, and it's like, hey, just tap the button to the beat. And I'm like, I don't know which button I'm pushing, my dude. So I need to see if I can figure that out. Because I love the game so far. It's been a lot of fun. Also, it didn't save my progress for some reason. I did the whole I played like an hour I think of it, and I have to go redo the entire hour now.
Yeah, it's a
great.
manual save game.
Yeah, no, I did the manual save. It just didn't save it, and I had this problem with Nier Automata, so I need to figure out why it's doing that.
That's weird. Yeah,
I'll figure that out.
So I wanted to interject for a second about Yakuza, because I've actually just started getting into Yakuza myself, because I have a friend.
Ooh, yeah.
I have a friend who is super into Yakuza. She loves it so much. And she actually recommended me to start with Kiwami, which is the remake of Yakuza 1, because Yakuza 1 and 2 were originally PlayStation 2 games, but there's a remake of the first two called Kiwami 1 and 2. And so I started playing Kiwami just today, actually. I just barely booted it up on my Xbox One because it's on Game Pass. So I was like, well, it's on Game Pass. I'll play it. So, so I'm going in a bit of a different direction. I'm not starting with what the canonical timeline start is. And I think the reason why she recommended that was because there's certain stuff similar to Metal Gear Solid 3 and the prequel games to the later Metal Gear games, is that there's stuff that happens in Zero that kind of spoils like later reveals in other games when it's technically more fulfilling, I guess, to play through the rest of the main series and then hit Zero when it play it by release year, essentially. So that's the plan that I've essentially got going. So again, I'm going to play,
two different ways to do it.
Yeah, I'm going to play Kiwami, then Kiwami 2, and then I'm going to try and get my hands on the rest of the series, which are definitively, I know, on the PS3, but I think there's PS4 ports of some of the like Yakuza 3 through 5 or whatever, which I think were just PS3 games. So but I'm gonna cross that bridge when I get there. But it's not technically a game I've really been playing this week, because again, I just started it. But cool that you're talking about Yakuza, because I just started myself.
So it's been fun. I just need to figure out why it's not saving and why the controller is not controlling correctly. But besides that, and then like halfway through, when I was about to finish playing for the day, I was in the middle of a fight, and then like it just stopped receiving input from my controller, and then I look in the settings, and it's like, it just rebound everything inverted, and so like all my D-pad controls were my my buttons, like the X triangle, etc., and then vice versa, and then my sticks were bound to the bumpers, and the bumpers were bound to the stick inputs, and I was like, what the hell just happened?
That sounds
awful.
So
I go fix all of that. And then I tried to leave out of that menu, and it won't let me leave with the controller. And I try to hit escape, and it won't let me leave with the escape on my keyboard. And then I found out that my keyboard has all the inputs like switched randomly, and so I couldn't leave the game. And I was like, okay, so I guess I just control, delete, and leave. And I guess that's probably why I didn't save. But I thought I saved before that anyway. It's just I'm having issues with the game, like what's it called, system management stuff, but not the game itself. So. Hopefully I can fix that, and then I'll actually enjoy the game more. But as of right now, I'm just kind of frustrated.
Yeah, no, I definitely get it. I mean, again, I'll see if I have any issues with Kiwami on the Xbox One. I'm not entirely sure if I will, but I'll report back. But take this as one of Ethan's patented Game Pass recommendations. Because Kiwami 1 and 2 and Yakuza 0 are all on Game Pass, both on the Xbox itself, but also on PC, so you can play them on Game Pass as well, which, again, damn good deal. I will shill Game Pass until the day I die. I'm not getting paid by anybody to say this, it's just a damn good deal.
And then last one, a friend of mine, like at midnight, I think it was 2 days ago, was like, hey, I'm done with Rocket League for the night, but Brandy and I want to play Phasmophobia. I was like, I don't have it. And they're like, okay, let me gift it to you. And so, because he's Canadian, he couldn't. And so Brandy's like, I'll buy it for him. So she bought me it because she lives in like, where was it? I don't remember where. Somewhere in the United States. And so, and it's so funny because I don't even like know her well. We played like a couple games of Rocket League that night. And she's like, yeah, I like you. We're playing together. I was like, okay, cool. You're buying me a game. Whatever. Phasmophobia. I hate horror games. I don't know why I agreed to this. We started playing it last night. I played for 41 minutes, and I don't want to play it again, but I'm being forced to. So if you like horror games, I mean, there's a lot of good merit to it. I love the directional audio in it. It's very well done. And me being an audiophile, like I'm actually very impressed by it. It does do a very good job of that. The radio sounds, just the general sound effects in overall, like the ambient kind of noise that people tend to mess up in games, is really well done, and I like that a lot. And then the immersion of it, like you actually have to speak into the microphone, and then the game will actually pick up what you speak and put that into text so that it can use for things, and then vice versa, it'll speak back to you and things like that. So it's a little terrifying. I mean, I had a moment where my friend was like, "Hey, I'm gonna leave you in this room alone. Don't start crying on me, but just talk to the radio and ask the ghost where he's at." I was like, "Okay." So he locks me inside the freaking room, bastard. And I open up the radio and I'm like, "Where are you?" And out of nowhere, the static from the radio goes behind, and I'm like, "I'm leaving. I don't like this." So good horror game. At least I think, because I hate horror games, but I can appreciate what it does. I just don't want to play it again.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm a bit of a pansy ass when it comes to horror games, but I still push through. I mean, I've played the entire Resident Evil franchise, so I mean, and I love it. So if I normally can't handle horror games, but every now and then I can muster up the courage to run through some of them. Yeah. But yeah, no, that game that game very much sounds not for me though, because I've looked at stuff on I looked at the Steam page for it and whatever, and I'm just kind of like maybe.
Yeah, it's fun with friends for sure, because I mean, playing with those two, it was a lot of fun. And there's a few janky things that you can kind of mess around with, which are fun to do as well. Because I think at one point, one of my friends had like grabbed the radio and like tossed it through a wall or something on accident, and it just happened to like fix something I don't remember. They were kind of speed running it as well at the same time. So yeah, it was interesting. So they put in a lot of time into that game.
Yeah, so. Sounds like it.
Yeah, that's the 4 I've been doing this week. Besides Rocket League. Rocket League's always like if I don't play something, if I say don't play something in the week, it's because I've been playing Rocket League and it doesn't really matter. So,
That's always a constant.
Yeah. But I'll give an update next week on Doom, because I'm definitely going to finish that this week for sure.
Hell yeah,
and
brother.
then Danganronpa's going to take some time because I'm doing that with a friend. And then Yakuza, I'll see when I fix that, but I'll definitely be playing more of that. And then Ben got me Dark Souls 3, so yay, I've been indicted indicted? No, what's the word?
Inducted?
The word. Inducted
into the Souls series.
Yeah. We'll see if I like it.
Yeah, I purposely gifted him 3 because it's the most polished out of the 3.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to give because I think Elias, you played
You had
Dark
me
Souls
try
1.
number 1, and I was kind of iffy on it.
Yeah,
I
and
liked the
that's
concept, but it was just kind of jank.
Yeah, that's understandable. Like, yeah, so that's why I decided 3 because that's the more polished one.
Yeah.
And then he got me Death Stranding, so I'm going to be playing that as well.
Oh, very nice. Death Stranding.
Yeah.
My Amazon delivery simulator. I joke about that, but I love it. I got the platinum trophy in it on the PlayStation 4 version of the game at launch. I have the collector's edition, so I like it. I like it a lot.
You can make fun of a game and still love it. Because, I mean, Rocket League's the worst game in the entire world, trust me. I still love it. Servers are shit, community shit. I hate it. Anyway.
Very nice. Well,
same thing. I make fun of Dark Souls a lot, but I love it.
Well, since Elias went through all of his, I guess we'll just go through all of ours in the list order. So let's shake things up a little bit, because I'm trying to know, because like usually we have a certain order that we start these. Yeah. I kind of picked up. So Ben usually goes second. So I'm gonna have Andrew go next, and then we'll go. Well, I don't know. I'm usually last, but I can still.
We'll go Ben. No,
okay.
We'll save Ben for last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ben, you suck. You're last. Andrew.
Cool.
Ben's gonna have a solid like half an hour of like quiet audio.
Well, we're trying to make this a discussion, Like
I can bounce off of you guys.
Yeah.
Camaraderie.
Yeah.
I have 2 games. I have Doom, like Elias, and also Crash Bandicoot 4.
Oh, nice.
Because I was playing Doom, right? And I suck, like, horribly.
It's hard, dude.
I'm in hell, and I can't get out. I think Elias is actually further than me now.
Yeah, I think I am. Because you said you just barely got into hell, right?
Yes. You know the first wave where you start fighting those floating head guys?
Yeah. Cacodemons.
Yeah. I'm sorry, what? They have names?
Yeah, Cacodemon.
They do have names, yeah. There's little logs on all of them.
Yeah, logs.
They call them something different in the Japanese. I don't remember what they call it in Japanese.
Cacodemon is best boy.
I'll say that for later in discussion, but I got some hot takes about logs now. It's a really fun game. I think I just made the mistake of playing it too late, so I was tired, and so I was getting stuck, and I was like, oh no, I don't want this feeling. I don't want to like feel like antagonistic towards this game. I was having a lot of fun in like pre-hell, but post-hell I'm struggling, so I'm like okay, I need to like only play this when I'm like fully awake. So
it requires your
kind
attention.
of a difficulty spike. The first hell section is like, oh, okay, this just got a lot harder than the first section, which makes sense. But
I really love the first section. So and I assume that hell is also really fun. I just need to be in a better mindset for it, I think.
Yeah.
I was dying constantly. The wave right before that one, I died I think like 12 times, and
wow.
Yeah, I suck. I'm terrible. I'm always aiming at the knees when I should be aiming at the head. Yeah. It's rough. Especially when you're on your controller, I guess.
Oh yeah, with control. I think I told you we were talking about this. I can't believe you're even that far with controller. I would be stuck in the tutorial with controller.
Yeah.
So
I played several levels of the game on Ultra Nightmare with a controller. So
I can't
back in the day, I can't do it anymore, but I used to be able to.
Wait, what is Ultra Nightmare? Is it like one hit kill or something?
Pretty much, at least close to it. You melt really fast. Imps will be able to like kill you in like 2 fireball throws or whatever.
God, that's ridiculous.
And you have to start all the way back from the beginning of the game too. It's Ultra Nightmare.
Oh jeez,
that's insane. I can't do
that. That's about as bad as the
Steel Soul.
No, like the ultimate grounded mode on Last of Us Part 2. It's like,
oh god, yeah.
You play grounded mode, and then if you die, you have to start all the way over.
I like how I just assumed immediately that you were talking about Hollow Knight.
So at least for if you guys are looking for achievements completion in Doom 2016, You do have to play through the first level of Doom 2016 on Ultra Nightmare, and you have to finish it on there and able to, again, get that full completion.
But just the first level? Okay,
just the
that
first
seems
level.
Doable. That seems doable. As long as it's not like do the entire game on Ultra Nightmare with only a pistol.
I want you to report back to me on how doable you think it actually is, because it's rough.
I'm just
still.
saying, in concept, it sounds doable, but we'll see when I get there. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds fine on paper, but in action, it's awful. As someone who's done it like twice.
Nice.
Anyways, so the other game I was playing was Crash Bandicoot, because I literally bought it like right after I got stuck on Doom, because I was like, okay, I need a cartoony game to like cleanse my palate a little bit. That's exactly what happened with when I played like Dark Souls, the first one. I played it only for a few hours, but I was like, I'm gonna download Bug Fables now. Like I need cartoony games to balance out action games.
That's funny.
You're always playing two games at once, like a realistic looking game and a cartoony game.
Yeah, to help my eyes a little bit.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
Yeah, Doom isn't even that like realistic. It's actually pretty stylized, but
it's very stylized. Yeah, for what it is.
Yeah, it's still
but like all the super HD textures and stuff.
Yeah, it got HD textures out the ass, and those hurt my eyes. And
it's too high definition. I can't see it.
By the way, Crash Bandicoot though, have you guys? I know that Ethan and Ben have. Have you played Crash at all, Elias?
I think on the PS2 way back when I was a small child, and like
so
I
you
sucked
played
at it.
So you played some of those true bangers like Wrath of Cortex and Twin Sanity.
I think I played I think I owned Twin Sanity. I don't think I ever finished it because I sucked at Crash and I hated how he controlled back in the day. I think the one game that I liked from Crash back then was like they had a racing thing. I don't know what it was called.
Crash Team Racing?
Well, there was Crash.
Racing. I played that. I played that. Crash does have a racing
that
game.
one. That was so much fun.
Well, there's a couple.
That was the only Crash game I liked.
There's a couple Crash Team Racings. I mean, you have the original one on the PS1, which is like the only good one, and then you have the ones that got released on the sixth gen consoles, so like the PS2 and the Xbox.
I think I have one of those. The Tag Team Racing.
Tag Team Racing and the like. They're like super broken and janky.
I think I played those. I love them because they were broken and janky. But yeah,
I just really remember the dioramas from Tag Team.
Yeah, and then Twin Sanity was the only other Crash game I played, and I don't think I ever finished it as a kid. I don't think I'll ever go back and finish it either. So,
well, anyways,
what do you think of 4?
I haven't gotten terribly far yet, because. Like, even though it's cartoony, it's still hard as balls. It's a good kind of hard though, where it's like when you die, you're like, shit. It's I don't know if you guys have heard about this. It is like an absolute bitch to 100%. Like the hardest game ever to 100%. It's okay. So here's what you got to do on every single level. Okay, there's the Wumpa fruit, right, which are just like the normal power ups. Well, not power-ups, just collectibles. Okay, you gotta get 3 diamonds from, there's 6 diamonds per level, and you get 3 of them from collecting Wumpa fruits, alright? You gotta get 80% of the Wumpa fruits in every level to get 3 of the diamonds. The other 3 is break all the crates. Secondly, you can't die more than 3 times. And there's a hidden diamond in every level that you have to find. So if you get all 6 of them, then you unlock an outfit, right? And that sounds awesome, but I've yet to get a single outfit. I've yet to even die less than 3 times on every level, on any level. I always get in like the 20s. So you can play in either modern or retro mode. Retro mode is the life system like before. So if you run out of lives, you guys start the whole level over. I did not do that. And you can't convince me to. It just keeps track of. It just gives you like a death counter. If you get less than 3, then you get the diamond. But anyways, I actually did get a costume. Not from beating the level though. You just. It's just from ordering the game. You get 1 costume, and I think that'll be the only one I get. it's sad because the costumes I like looked them up online and they're all really cool. They're like Mario Odyssey, like you get to dress up the characters in all these cute costumes, and it sounds like a ton of fun. But in Mario Odyssey, you just have to buy them. They're really easy, so you have like 30 costumes by the end of the game. But I think for the average player, they're probably just going to be stuck with the default for the whole game.
Or anyone who's just not used to Crash quite yet.
Well,
I'm used to it. I beat two of them.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
not a novice.
Is it a lot harder than some of the older ones?
No, I think it's the same. It's just it would just take me multiple attempts to like be able to 100% the levels.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's
because it's insane. I found I would never be able to 100% the first Crash. That's just way too hard. But 2 is a little easier, but I could probably 100% 3. I mean, because 3 is super easy compared to the rest of them. But yeah, I'm not 100%ing 1.
Yeah. Crash is like with like breaking all the boxes, and when you die, like you have to break the same boxes over and over again. And that just seems so tedious to me that like I don't think it would ever really be worth it other than just to say you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's another hot take of mine, which I'll save for later, is 100% in games.
As we were talking about game completion last week, like, oh yeah, it's okay, and then there's gonna be you're like, nah, fuck it.
Oh man, I never 100%ed any games besides Mario, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm very anti 100%. It's like, no, I just played till the game is I stop having fun. But anyways, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I definitely highly recommend it to you guys. It's made by the guys that keep Toys for Bob, the guys that keep remastering the Spyro and Crash, and I think they're like my new favorite company. Because they make
they're amazing.
I think they're kind of like bringing back like old school like 3D platformers. I really hope they make a Spyro 4 too. I think that would be awesome.
That would be sick.
And
yeah,
like,
from what I
even,
hear,
like,
that's definitely on the docket because again, both the Crash and the Spyro games were running. But what's interesting is that it was Vicarious Visions that did the Crash remake. And it's interesting that Toys for Bob, the people who did the Spyro remakes, did the Crash sequel. So I think it would be kind of funny if we have Vicarious Visions make the Spyro game.
Yeah. Do they have relations? Like
I mean,
they're
I think
connected.
They're connected through Activision. I know that at least.
Oh, yeah,
so.
yeah.
And I think Toys for Bob did have some input on Insane, because I remember seeing that in the opening screens for Insane. I think.
Yeah, they probably have some overlap, I'm guessing, because it feels very similar. Like it really does. It has like modernized stuff, like it has cutscenes now and stuff, which are actually nicely animated, which is awesome for a video game. It really like pays like it has like the exact same spirit. It has like the same like level of difficulty, and it just has like little like modernized touches. So it's like the perfect kind of reboot, in my opinion. So yeah, I definitely highly recommend it. And if you guys start playing it, I'm sure you'll beat it before me.
I really want to play. It looks fun.
Yeah.
Give yourself some credit, Andrew. Come on.
Yeah, I'm only good at games I played like 10 years ago.
The true boomer among men.
Yeah.
Among men,
Among
all
men.
of humanity.
Yes, I'm a
Cringe
boy. And you
boomer.
guys are men.
So, I guess that's Andrew's spiel on his 2 games of the week, I suppose.
Woo. I also played Overcooked.
Oh, I thought you said you only had 2.
I mean, that's like a multiplayer game. And we just
Yeah,
played
we played that last night.
Yeah, I also played it with my little brother a few days ago.
Well, if you have 3 games, tell me you have 3 games.
Andrew.
Does Overcooked count though? Like, what am I going to say?
It's a game, and
What
if
am I
you want
gonna
to
say
talk about it, it counts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Best cooking game. Hot take. Seriously, no other cooking game comes close. Its only competition is like Cooking Mama. So, yeah, that's right. Overcooked is
Cooking
best.
Mama.
Drop mic. Okay. Now I'm done.
That's all. It's just best cooking game.
Yeah.
I'm looking up cooking games. I think there's something better. Anyway, continue, Andrew. Or not Andrew. Ethan.
Yep.
Yeah.
So running for me. So I'm giving an Alan Wake update. Because I was playing that last week, trying to play it. During the recording, I stated that I really just was not in on how it controlled on PC, and I made the suggestion that, like, you know, maybe it's better with a controller, I don't know. I did try it with an Xbox controller, and yes, it does feel a hell of a lot better to play with a controller. But I still lost my patience with the game, and I got about halfway through. I think there's like 6 chapters. I got to chapter 3, and I called it. I just couldn't put up with it anymore. The gameplay was just extremely frustrating and boring, and so repetitive in its mechanics. I could play it with my eyes closed for the most part.
Oh wow.
The whole enemy structures and the responsiveness of so many of the controls and so forth, it's just not there. Even with a controller, it's still off and on whether or not, like, my inputs are actually going to be read correctly, and I've taken, like, so much damage and have died in that game for attacks that I honestly feel I shouldn't have been hit by. And it's frankly frustrating, and I just decided to give up. So I gave up on Alan Wake. So yeah, I obviously I don't, I just, like, here's the thing. I previously was like, yeah, I kind of recommend it for, like, how terrible its story is and how, like, corny ass and stupid that it is. But I kind of want to rescind that statement now. Mainly just because it's just so bland. And again, it's so frustrating to try and effectively play. I don't know. I guess I might be stupid or something like that, but whatever. That's fine. But there is another shorter game that I played this week because I've got 2 monoliths to talk about here in a second. But I decided to punish myself after giving up on Alan Wake. I played a shooter game on console.
Ooh.
On the PS3, no less.
Oh.
So I'm using the DualShock 3, one of my least favorite controllers that I've ever touched.
Yummy.
Yeah, so I decided to play Killzone 2. Because I played the first Killzone long time ago, and I had the intention, because I have this collection on PS3 that contains Killzone 1 through 3. And I decided, okay, cool, yeah, no, I'm gonna definitely play through Killzone, and I totally just kind of forgot about Killzone after playing through the first one, and I decided, like, oh, hey, you know, I guess I'll boot up 2 and start playing it, and it's definitely a shooter on a controller, nevertheless, the DualShock 3, so it's very rough around the edges on its controls. It was doable, and I finished it. I finished it on normal difficulty too, so there we go. So it is doable for a PC player of shooters. I could do it, and I did it, and I'm very proud of myself that I was able to do it. So I give myself a pat on the back. But man, it's just weird. I'll make it very, like, short and simple. The guns feel really cool to control. There's a lot of really interesting weaponry in the game. Some of the levels are pretty good, but there's a couple pretty bad ones as well. There's a lot of forced motion controls in the game, which is really annoying. Because I don't know.
Love that.
I don't know how many of you have used a PS3, but obviously with the 6-axis controller and with the DualShock 3 with 6-axis in it, that's the built-in motion controls on the PS3 controller, and there's certain moments where, like, I have to like use like a crank or whatever to, like, open a door or whatever, and you have to, like, press and hold, like, the shoulder buttons on the DualShock 3, and you have to turn the controller and whatever to and especially when you're like everyone's shooting at you at the same time, it's frankly kind of obnoxious to do. Those are easily the worst parts of the game, but they're really brief, and at least there's no, outside of like close to the end of the game, there's no extended sections of having to use the motion controls, but at least like at that point you can kill everybody in the room, so you know you can dink around with the jankiness and not have to worry about getting your shit kicked in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess it's whatever. Killzone 2, pretty good. It still looks pretty good overall for a PlayStation 3 game. It looks pretty good. I'd like to see it run on PC without all of its like crazy ass post-processing effects and the light motion blur and all the film grain in it. I want it to actually like look better. But you know, it'll probably never come to PC, so one can dream. But
that was done by Guerrilla, right?
Yeah, so the people who eventually went on to make Horizon Zero Dawn. So that was kind of like their franchise before they went on to Horizon later on. So but yeah, that's Killzone 2. But I had an extended weekend this week. We're recording this on a Sunday, but I basically had Wednesday through today off of work. And yeah, so I wanted to jump back into The Witcher 3, and I did. Now, I initially finished The Witcher 3 back in, like, late April, and at the time of finishing it, I put, like, over 60 hours. No, yeah, like 68 hours into the game, and so I was like, you know what? I put that much time into it over the course of, like, a month. I was like, you know, I'm going to take a break, but I want to get back and I want to play the expansions. And I totally forgot about it. And so so much time passed where I didn't play any of the expansions until I was sitting around on Wednesday, and I'm like, well, I've got nothing better to do. Let's boot up The Witcher 3. So, the entirety of my Wednesday was playing through the first expansion to The Witcher 3, and I finished it in a single day.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah, I hate myself for doing that, but anyway. So The Witcher 3 has two expansions, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine. So I played Hearts of Stone first. It's really cool, so I'll just give like a basic synopsis. Everything kind of controls the same as it does from The Witcher 3. That's really good, but the story is really cool. It's about this like evil monarch dude who has like this like crew of bandits and whatever, and he's like, hey Geralt, I need you to go kill this thing that's off over in the sewers of this town, and Geralt's like, okay, and he goes down there. It's a giant like weird frog beast. You kill the frog beast, turns out it's a guy. It turns back into a human, and a bunch of people come up and like lock up Geralt, and as Geralt's getting shipped away to get his head chopped off from where, you know, from these angry people, because they killed the guy was a prince. So this guy who showed up all the way in the beginning of The Witcher 3 comes back for this DLC, and he's this weird magic guy, and he's a really ominous figure. But the guy's like, hey Geralt, remember me? And you can choose to say like yeah or no or whatever. I'm like, I don't remember who the hell you are. This guy's like, hey, I'll let you out, but you owe me something. And Geralt's like, okay. So the guy brands Geralt's face with this like gigantic like rune looking scar, and the ship crashes. Geralt gets out, but then like the magic guy says to Geralt like, hey, I need you to go back to this guy because he's wronged me and we need to do something about it. So we all hoof it back over to that guy's place, and then Magic Man's like, oh hey, you know, you wanted like 3 requests from me to like do stuff for you. Hey, Geralt's gonna do that now, and he just pisses off. And so then I have to complete a series of like 3 impossible tasks for this guy who's actually immortal. Funny enough, he gets a sword stabbed through him in my playthrough, but it can change on what happens with the guy. You can actually fight him and cut his head off, but he doesn't actually die. but the guys, you have to complete these 3 tasks for him, and it's a really like cool story how it goes, and it gets really emotional because you find out about the guy's previous love life before he went immortal and what happened to the guy, how he turned into a giant asshole, and the ending is really great too. So it's really great. Hearts of Stone is really, really, really good. Then I played Blood and Wine, and oh my hell, it is probably the best expansion I've played for a game ever. You get a whole new map to run around in. You get at least a 20-hour story out of it, plus a smorgasbord of new side quests, and you get new additions to Gwent, my favorite Pokemon card game. And yeah, I played through Blood and Wine. The story is still, it's so damn good, man. Oh, dear Lord. There's a weird beast that's like killing people in this major city, and this queen hires Geralt to try and track down the monster. Turns out the guy's a vampire. But he's a higher level vampire, so he's like really hard to kill, and like vampires of that level can only be killed by another vampire. Geralt finds that one of his old friends is a vampire, but not the vampire committing the stuff, and they kind of work together to see what they can do about this, but it turns out like the vampire guy is getting blackmailed, and that's why he's killing people. Because like, his old fiance is apparently kidnapped, and the person's like sending ransom letters and whatever, and so it's crazy, and it goes to so many like insane directions. Like, good people turn to be bad people might actually be good. It's oh god, it's freaking amazing. it's so good, it's so freaking good. And Gwent, which is just amazing. Love my Pokemon cards. There's an achievement that I did, and I don't know if I'm proud of it or not, but there's a quest that you can go on because a new deck gets announced in Gwent, where normally you have like, you can play monsters or Nilfgaardians or whatever, elven factions, but you have these different factions, each with different cards, and you can play a faction or whatever. But they introduce a new faction. And this guy gives you like the basic card set, and he's like, hey, you can only get the advanced cards by playing all these other people in the region, and there's 24 people. I played and beat all 24 of those people to get those cards. Jeez. And they're all scattered across the map, and when you do that, you get an achievement called I have a Gwent problem. And
that's awesome.
Yes, I do have a Gwent problem, and now it's featured on my Steam profile, so now I feel happy about playing a shitload of Gwent. But yeah, you do that so you can enter into a Gwent tournament, and so I played even more Gwent after that. But if I'm to sell anybody on at least Blood and Wine, there's a side quest in Blood and Wine where I was running around and I was doing my my normal Pokemon cards adventure. I ran across this guy, and he's like, I need help, and I walk up to the guy, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And this dude's like, someone's defaced my art. I don't know who could have done such a terrible thing? And Geralt's like, okay, well, what did they do? And the guy's like, I can't tell you out here in the middle of the street. So he takes me inside, and we walk up to this big naked statue that he has, and he looks at it, he's like, someone ripped the balls off my statue. So I had a side quest. I interrupted my regularly scheduled Pokemon cards to go find a statue's testicles. And even then, it didn't even see how it was. I'll just explain how the quest goes. So I tracked down the scent of this guy, because Geralt's a tracker. And it turns out this old dude who's having an affair with a younger woman, and Geralt walks in on them in the middle of the act. And the old guy's like, oh, I just slipped on something, this is what it looked like. And then Geralt's like, cut the shit, I know what's happening. And the lady who like ran away to the other room comes back in a towel, and she's like, "Hey, you're like, it's okay. He's not my husband." And so the old guy's like, "Well, then why the hell are you here?" And Geralt's like, "The balls, hand him over." And the guy's like trying to fight. He's like, "But I have a debt that I need to pay, and these balls will pay for the debt." And he's like, "Dude, I don't care. I need the balls." And then suddenly, out of the blue, the lady's husband walks in like it's a freaking sitcom, and he's like, "What the hell's going on in here?" And then like I just turn to the guy and I cast a magic spell to like mind control the guy, and Geralt just says, "I don't have time for this right now," and just tells the guy to leave. And so the husband just walks out on a mind control spell, and then I just keep arguing with this guy, and I get the balls and I run back to the sculptor. I'm like, "Hey, here's your balls back." And the guy's like, "Thanks, here's like 500 gold." And I'm like, "Sweet, thanks." And that's a side quest. As I said, when we did those top 10 games, the side quests of The Witcher 3 are the main quests of lesser RPGs. And if that doesn't sell you on playing through this game, I don't know what the hell will. But
I've wanted to for a while, but this just makes it even. I just want to play it even more now.
Yeah, and it's great because like it's so cheap now. I don't know what you can get it on Steam, but I like picked up the Game of the Year edition, which came with the DLC for $15, and I have 100 hours in the game until like I feel good on finishing it. I have 100 hours, and I paid $15 for it.
Damn.
That's a deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely, great game, love it. Witcher 3 slaps. And then we already kind of talked a little bit how I was, experimenting and starting Yakuza Kiwami already. So, yep, that's everything I played. Ben, you go.
I only have 2 games. But I spent way too much time on them, and I'm probably not going to really put much time into them for a while. But I 100%ed both Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls 1 within like one after the other, pretty much. Because I went through Dark Souls 3 and I got help from my friend Sam to complete it. And then right after that, I jumped straight into trying to 100% Dark Souls 1. With a new character, mind you. And so I spent, I think, a total of 40 hours 100%ing Dark Souls 3, and then I think 20 to 30 hours 100%ing Dark Souls 1. So I've spent way too much time this last week on Dark Souls in general. And but I do have to say I am pretty proud of it, because it was giving me trouble towards the end. Dark Souls 3 wasn't necessarily as hard to 100%. It was just a little more tedious because you have to farm 30 Proof of Concord's Kept, which is a PvP item, and that you can also get as a 3% chance drop from the Silver Knights at Anor Londo. And that's even with like the Covetous Gold Serpent Ring, which boosts your item discovery, and the Symbol of Avarice, which does the same thing. So that was really tedious. I had to kill those 2 Silver Knights on the main stairs of Anor Londo like tons of times. I don't even know how much. And then like every time I like invaded a world as a blue spirit, like it was only like half the time that I actually got a proof because people would just kick my ass. And then especially in the Pontiff area, because you end up joining worlds where they have like a Warrior of Sunlight and a White Spirit by their side. And so you're just a single blue sentinel just going up against 3 other players, and it's like, okay, cool. Fun. And then Dark Souls 1 was a less tedious with the covenants. You only needed like 10 sunlight medals and so on and so forth. It was pretty easy. But it was not as tedious, but it was a little harder because New Game Plus on Dark Souls 1 is a lot harder than New Game Plus on Dark Souls 3. And towards the end, me and Sam wanted to finish the achievements before he had to go to bed to wake up early the next day for work. And so we were trying really hard to just go as fast as we could. And I kept dying in the catacombs and dying in the Tomb of Giants. And Nito was kicking my ass when he normally doesn't. And I was just getting so pissed towards the end because everything that could have gone wrong was going wrong. And I was just trying to go fast, and the game felt like it was actively preventing me from doing it. So I was getting frustrated towards the end, but that feeling when I finally turned in Gwyn's soul to get the final miracle I needed, and then getting the Dark Soul achievement, I was like, Yes. Okay. I'm done. I'm gonna put this down for a minute and then play something else. But yeah, it was like as frustrating as it was towards the end. I actually had a good time 100%ing it because I was able to, put more time into the game and challenge myself a little more. And then Sam was there as well, so we were both kind of playing and talking and stuff. So it was fun. But the end was I was getting frustrated towards the end because of the time limit and because I kept dying. So yeah.
Nice
So
job, man.
Thanks. That's about as much as I can say because I didn't really play anything else. It was just Dark Souls 1 and 3.
Yeah, I took a look at your Steam profile while you were talking, and I see the hours that you've put in on both of those.
I have over 100 hours on both games.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm probably going to take a break for a while.
I've almost have 250 hours now in Master Chief Collection, so of course I can't. Well, no, I have almost 280, sorry. So, it's not like I can really say anything about putting too much time into a game. Well, that's on Steam, but actually, fun fact, I took a look at my, on my Xbox account, because the Steam version of Master Chief Collection is still hooked up to your Xbox account. And it tracks the time that I've played that game in total. I have almost a whole month of my life has been put into Master Chief Collection.
Nice.
I have 28 days, close to. So,
how many hours is that?
Good question. I don't know.
28 times 24, baby.
I can't math. I'm dumb.
Hey, grab a calculator.
28
times 24 is 672 hours.
Cool.
Damn, boy.
I'm gonna boot up my Xbox app, and then I'm gonna.
I can ever talk shit to anyone about playing 2 hours.
You've got your Rocket League times.
I can.
Yeah, I don't think I can ever be like, oh, you spent way too much time on that game. Yeah, no, not at all.
I think each of us have a game that does that for us.
I mean, with the fact that like my second most played game is still more than like all of your guys's, I'm pretty sure. Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, Battlefield 3 being 1,500, and then my third most game at 800. Yeah, I think I'm the one who's played way too much time in games. Or like in one particular game. Because overall...
I have a nice variety of things that I play. I usually don't stick to one thing for too long. But I did double check on the Xbox app on my computer. I currently have 28 days, 7 hours and 44 minutes in Master Chief Collection. So
679 and 44 minutes.
Woohoo.
Whatever it was.
Anyway, we were going to move on to the discussion topic of the week. We've got hot takes, spicy takes, general opinions that we have that go against the norm, be them good or bad. So whether or not, if we're like, it's not just negative, like, oh, everyone likes this, but I think it's garbage, but maybe even everyone thinks this is garbage, but I like this. Give it a bit of a positive spin, if at all possible. But we have several, I believe, that we could certainly discuss on. I have made it very apparent over the past several episodes that I certainly have a good amount of hot takes. Now, I haven't listened to these episodes since they haven't released yet as of recording this, so I can't, quite pinpoint. I can't remember a discussion I had 3 weeks ago. But, I've made it very clear that I have quite a few, and of course made it clear talking about how much I just couldn't stand Alan Wake, when I'm certainly in the minority on it. A lot of people love it. I freaking hate it, but I guess that's considered a hot take, considering how much I just really, 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 really don't like it. But, that kind of kicks me off, and I guess kind of starts the discussion. What's some other hot takes out there you guys have that are fun to discuss?
I think that 100%ing a game is almost always not worth it. I have yet to experience anything besides Mario where I felt like it was worth the time.
I can certainly see that.
I can see that too.
Yeah, I can agree with a point. Yeah.
I mean,
you guys all agree with that?
Well, the thing is like we had a discussion about this when we talked about the achievements. I know you weren't there for that, but we kind of made it clear it's very much a case-by-case basis. We're not going to sit here and be like, oh, hell yeah, no, we're gonna, cram like every single game I've ever touched. I'm gonna 100%. Like, no, that's just ridiculous. But, there are certain games out there that I'm sure all of us have played that, as we're playing through it and we think, hey, this is really fun, and hey, I think it would be cool or fulfilling to go through and 100% it. Of course, Ben talked about 100%ing, Dark Souls and Dark Souls 3, and
okay, so I guess the more interesting question here is that, like, when is the point where you would say, no, that's enough?
Master Chief Collection, they want you to beat Halo 2's legendary difficulty campaign in under 3 hours.
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
And they also want you to play through all the Halo games on Lasso, which is legendary all skulls on. So not only is the game already on its hardest difficulty setting, but you have additional difficulties like you can't see your guns, you have no HUD, you have to melee and able to recharge energy shields. Enemies will throw more grenades. Every single enemy in the game is one rank higher than what they normally were, unless they were already max rank. Stuff like that. I will never do that, and I am totally okay never doing that in my life.
I was gonna say, it's very variable where you call the end point for something, right? Because as long as you're having fun going for the achievement and 100%ing it, I mean, there are going to be struggles along the way because it's not going to be an easy cakewalk, right, for most games. But like, as long as you're still having fun and it's still like, okay, this is a fun challenge, right? It's fine. But when it gets to the level that Ethan's talking about, like, where it's just ridiculous shit for no reason, and it's just like, cool, we're just gonna do it as stupidly hard as we can, and it's just not being fun anymore. Yeah, you call it there. Like, let's just say with Doom, let's just say I get to the point where I get to that last thing where it's like, okay, cool, we have to do this, the first level on the ultimate difficulty. I'm just not having fun. I'm not gonna 100% it. Maybe because I'm stubborn and retarded, I'll still do it. But like, I don't know. That's kind of what I would think for that. As long as you're having fun and you're still somewhat enjoying the challenge of it, then yeah.
Here's my thing about like 100%ing and putting like hundreds of hours into a game. Now, I'm gonna say this, but mind you, I do not hold anyone else to this kind of standard. It's just me. I put a lot of precedence on myself to experience a wide range of experiences. Like, I just like to, like, not necessarily just like limited to video games, but like all artistic mediums. I think that it is very invaluable to experience a lot of different people's visions and experience like hundreds of different like stories and across multiple different mediums to really kind of get a taste of the I guess like the human like condition. Because experiencing stories is other than just like interacting with people, which you can only do so much of in your life. I think that's the best way to kind of get a grasp on just kind of like the world as a whole. Now, so when you put too much time into one specific thing, that kind of takes away the chance to experience other things. Okay, you might put hundreds of hours into a game and not get to experience something else.
See,
so,
here's the...
Yeah.
So, I hate to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I agree with you, but there's nothing wrong with going back and playing games that you've already played before.
So that's what I mean. Like, I'm not saying like there's anything wrong with.
Yeah, no, because here's the thing. I've 100%ed plenty games. You take a look at my Xbox profile and my PlayStation account, and even a few games on Steam. I've 100%ed, a decent amount of games as it is already. The thing is, again, I always do try to, diversify things up as well. My backlogged profile, what it displays, I have, at the very least, played, like, nearly 700 games throughout my life. But I've still 100%ed a decent amount as well. So I certainly agree. And the thing is I don't think there's really, I mean, obviously, statistically speaking, it certainly exists, but the vast majority of people, even those who achievement hunt and search to 100% all the games that they possibly can or whatever, are still out there to play the widest variety of games that they possibly can as well. So
Yeah, I see. For instance, take my little brother for example. I see him like he plays a lot of Overwatch specifically. And I think that's like all he plays, and he tells me like I ask him like, why don't you try like a single player game? You might get something out of that. And he actually puts a lot of like stake on just being like the best like Overwatch player. Like he considers that to be like the ultimate thing that like a video game can like give him, is just to like just be the best at it. And that's not like, I'm not going to invalidate that, but I just personally like kind of fundamentally disagree that like I think that experiencing like a bunch of different games is like the most like rewarding way to go. But so it's like I don't even know if this is like an unpopular opinion. It's just like I just don't really get that mentality of like of putting like all of your heart and soul into like one thing and being the best at that, because I feel like you're kind of limiting yourself artistically. Like maybe like someday he'll be like a super famous like Overwatch Twitch streamer or something, but other than that, like his achievements are really only like special to him, and he doesn't really get the full like picture that like video games could possibly give him. And hey, if that's what he wants to do, that's fine. I'm not going to like invalidate that, but it just, in my opinion, I don't really think that that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah, I mean, personally for me, like I do like 100% in games when I enjoy them. Um, but it's the same thing where it's like, and like who besides me and maybe like some close friends are really gonna care that I've 100%ed this like the said games that I have.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you're like meeting someone new and you're like, hey, I've 100%ed Dark Souls, and they're just gonna be like, oh, okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, like it's more for me and maybe like you guys, I guess, than anything.
Get it? Yeah. No, I get
Yeah,
it.
people who get it, but like at the end of the day, that's all it is. It's just like a bragging thing, and it doesn't really do anything aside from like make me feel good about myself in that way. But yeah, I could see that with like your brother and Overwatch and stuff. It's like like I like if he's not like widening his horizons, he's not, there's a lot of games that have great stories that he might enjoy, that have great worlds or game like alternate gameplay that he might enjoy. But
Mm-hmm.
if like for him, if I don't know, like being the best at Overwatch is important to him, then yeah, I mean that's valid. But at the same time, it's like if he's not really sharing that with anyone, it's like just him being like, yeah, I am super good at Overwatch.
Yeah.
And then like it's just
I
okay.
think he has gotten like a lot of friends from Overwatch, like playing online. So I guess there's that
So I
angle
guess
to
there's
it as
that,
well.
yeah.
Yeah. So
I was gonna say, Andrew, to like flip the thing, like move the same subject to a different field, right?
okay.
You saying you don't understand someone really putting a lot of their time and effort into one particular thing is basically like saying, why the hell would I want to play the cello, right? For me, I have dropped so
Right.
many hours into that one particular field of instrumentation. Because I mean, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, I could go out and learn every single instrument in the entire world, and that would be like broadening my horizons. And yeah, that's a very valid thing I could do. But to me, my one greatest joy when it comes to music is playing, that specific instrument, right? Like
Yeah.
I know I have a home there, and I know that like the hours I put there allow me to do so much greater things. Granted, that's a whole different like area of
Yeah.
life, right?
Yeah. I think
But
that I think
with a
putting a
game,
yeah,
mm,
to echo what you said, to put a lot of stake onto your favorite thing, the thing you're most passionate about. I think that's great. Uh,
mm,
I just but at the same time, it's not like you only played the cello, right? You also played the piano, and you have a lot of experience with like other fields of things. So like, if you want to be the best at the cello, that's great. But but you're not like limiting yourself to just the cello either. Like you've experienced all the range
Well,
of
yeah,
music.
no, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, as much as I love my cello, right? I've kind of put that on the back burner, dropped it, and I've been focusing guitar. So imagine I'm trying to 100% guitar now, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you can still, yeah, it's never gonna happen because that's not how skills in real life work. But a game allows you to hit a point where you're done with it, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, me having been that same like your brother, where I played CS:GO, I got to global elite, I was doing tournaments, I was doing like really high level stuff, and I was trying to 100% a game you can never 100%, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I personally did find enjoyment from that, and it also depends on the kind of person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because for some people, I used to just not care about story games. They just literally didn't mean anything to me. It doesn't mean that like my view of the world was like skewed, right? I understood the fact that those games with stories were good and that people liked them and that there are different perspectives. But to me, it was like cool. You can have that. I just like my little thing I'm doing, right? Now that I've played a lot more story games, I've kind of fallen away from the multiplayer stuff. It's like, yeah, I
Yeah.
sometimes you just want to, go back to that. Sometimes you just want to do that. And, stories are nice and perspective is nice, but you can do that without, having to play every game in the world and then just kind of
Yeah.
haphazardly go through it, right?
Yeah, that's not even
So,
possible to play every game in the world
well,
anyway.
yeah, no,
So
not at all. But I mean, like,
yeah.
even playing a variety of games, like,
Yeah.
so,
I just like it
yeah,
when I appreciate people who are willing to branch out. Like
yeah.
people who are willing to experience like a lot of different ranges of like medium and just because like people who aren't afraid to try something new.
Mm-hmm.
It, I don't know. I just think it's kind of limiting to kind of limit yourself to like just like one field or like one medium or like one kind of story,
Mm-hmm.
because you'll never because I think a lot of like the greatest purpose of art is to kind of like it's a very easy way to like kind of branch out and experience new ideas and to kind of like kind of find out like who you are. And so yeah, like what my little brother's doing, I think that's fine for the time at least, but I just hope that at some point he's willing to like branch out more and kind of discover something that's new about himself.
Yeah. And yeah, and like I think us four are decently good with that because we all play a few different games. I mean, granted,
Yeah.
there's the ones that we really do like, but it's not like that's the only thing we play. Because like we all joke about how Ben and Hollow Knight, but at the same time, I haven't played Hollow Knight for probably like a month or two now.
Yeah, I haven't played
A
Splatoon for
whole
a long time
month.
either.
No, I'm
So,
kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, so and I'm probably not going to play it for a while because I feel like I've done almost everything I really care to in that game for the time being. And I do want to experience other things. Like I do want to play Death Stranding. I do want to play Mario 3D All Stars. I do want to play, the new Crash. I want to play all these other things because they look super fun, and I want to like get into them and like see what it's all about.
yeah, so that's
Yeah.
great.
Even though as much as I love Hollow Knight and Dark Souls as well, like those since I'm done with those and I've put like a fair amount of hours into them. I'm good with just leaving those in the back burner and trying new stuff to see because like for me, I love experiencing things for the first time, especially if it's like what if there's another game like out there that I'm going to love as much as Hollow Knight and I have not yet experienced it for the first time. There is still that possibility out there that there is a game that I have not experienced for the first time that I'm absolutely going to love.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
So yeah, there is that, and that's kind of what makes me want to look towards different games because I want to have that like first time experience again.
Yeah, awesome.
Because it's not possible to unplay a game for the first time. So yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, I think that about wraps up my thoughts. I just like I like what you guys are saying about there is nothing wrong with like wanting to be what I did with Splatoon. Like I put hundreds of hours in that game because I wanted to achieve the best rank in a video game for just once in my life, at least. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with like devoting yourself at least for a time for to become like the best you can at something. Not saying like that's wrong or anything. I just don't think it's a great idea to do that with every single pursuit, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's always my like philosophy with life. If somebody disagrees with that, that's great. I'm not the kind of person to demean other people. So like if you disagree with that, that's great, and I'm not going to argue with you about that.
That's Andrew's hot take on 100%ing.
Yep, kind of. That kind of like developed into like life philosophy. So.
Yeah. It's not much of a hot take, more just like a good discussion topic, because it's like, it's a good. Yeah,
it started off as a hot take
thing.
that ended up as like more, which is great for a discussion.
Hot take would be more like Death Stranding is a shit game and you all need to die for playing it or something stupid like that, you know?
Is that your hot take, Elias?
No, that's not my hot take. I love Death Stranding, dude, but like, yeah, I feel like that would be more of a hot take, just something that like universally everyone's like, dude, this is the best thing ever, and you're like, no, it sucks ass, and here's why.
I kind of like Paper Mario Sticker Star.
I've never played. I don't.
Everyone hates that game. I thought it was kind of fun.
I don't know if I have any like hot takes on like right off the top of my head.
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily. Continue, Elias. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say with hot takes, I feel like for the most part, all four of us are very like open-minded and non-controversial people. So it's really hard for us. I mean, besides Ethan, I think has the most hot takes out of all of us.
Yeah,
he's more opinionated than we are. But like for me, it's like cool. You do your yeah. I'm like you like that game. I don't, but that's okay. It's not my thing, you know. Like that's my hot take. I just say it's not my thing, and then I move on with my life. I don't really go like, oh, you think that? Well, whatever, you know.
Yeah, I mean the thing is like. And I've stated this for a long time. It's that if you're someone who is to get into media criticism and to share your opinions online, especially to the extent of someone like me who does, and even like work into the writing industry, the big thing that you need to really, I think the most important thing that you need in terms of skill for this field is that you need to understand that and be able to respect other people's opinions, no matter how stupid it may initially seem. And I'll be honest, sometimes it's harder than most. I had, it's a movie thing and a TV show thing, but I love the Evangelion series and the movie. And when I was working at the last place I was writing for in Cluvy, and someone did like a movie review of End of Ava and called it like a boring Pacific Rim or something, I wanted to rip her head off at first.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I was like, are you like? It's still to this day probably one of the stupidest opinions I've ever seen, but it's her opinion. There's nothing I can do to change that or anything. But as tone deaf and stupid as that was, because it was, again, it's how she feels, and ultimately, again, I understand that, and I'm not going to sit around. I'm not sitting around every waking moment of my life being like ooh about it. So it's.
Just like harassing her about it, like you're an idiot.
You big dumbass. No, that's again, that's just how it rolls for me. But ultimately, there's not much I can really think of in terms of other like I guess massive gaming hot takes that I can honestly even think of, because I just kind of like share them as they come to mind. Like when I'm talking about a game or whatever. Like I don't know. I guess I could just say, like, I don't care about JRPGs. I never have. I don't think I ever will. I know I'm playing Yakuza, but that's a brawler first before anything else, and it's and
brawler with JRPG elements, yeah.
Yeah, it's a brawl. Yeah, so I mean, I guess there's that. Like, I don't care about JRPGs. I never have. I've tried to play a few, and
it's a
I can't do it.
Taste, yeah, it's an acquired taste for sure.
Yeah, I can't do grand strategy. Those games are annoying as hell. And then like most like RTS or turn-based games really just are a big turn off for me as well. There are exceptions. I like XCOM. XCOM's fun, and that's a turn-based strategy game, and I love Darkest Dungeon. That's an expansive long-ass RPG with menu elements, and it's with a turn-based combat system. I enjoy that. I mean, there's always exception to the rule, of course, but that most of the time it's kind of like, no. Like, I've stood by this, and I guess this is probably going to be like the hottest take I'll probably present, but I stood by this. Now, whether or not I'm going to stand by this, I don't know, but several years ago, I said, and I took an oath by saying, like, never in my life will I ever play a Final Fantasy game, nor will I ever play a Kingdom Hearts game. And I feel good about that. Now, whether or not I stick to that, who knows? I'd certainly like to, because I especially don't want to play Kingdom Hearts, but, who knows who's going to manipulate me into playing it? Who knows? But
yeah,
that's kept true. Yeah. That's kept true for 22, almost 23 years of my life so far. So hopefully it stays that way.
I say those are two game series that, like, if you weren't there near the beginning, you're just too late. There's no point. Because I'm kind of the same. I've always been like, Final Fantasy might be fun to. Oh no, fuck it, no, that's just not worth it. No.
My thing with those is that, like, my experience with JRPGs is decently limited, but like it includes Dark Cloud 1 and 2. And both of those games, like, just completing the story takes a ton of time.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I think like Dark Cloud 1, I think the main story, like, as like an adult, took me, close to 50-60 hours to beat, and that's just that. And then same thing for Dark Cloud 2, it's close to, I think, like 70-80 hours. And that's massive, like, especially for a PS2 game. And then knowing, like, that a lot of these modern JRPGs are even more expansive than that, it just kind of makes me not like it's like a thing where it's like, okay, if I'm gonna play this, I really have to, like, devote, like, time to this.
Okay.
And the Japanese men are workaholics, both in work and in games. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, with the whole gacha systems and stuff like that. Yeah, they're just ridiculous.
I'll have to put a pin in this real quick, because you talking about this just reminded me, I guess, of a hot take I have that I can share. So I'll let you finish, but just needed to say, in case I forget, someone else can yell, Ethan, what was that?
Yeah. I think I know what you're going to bring up, but anyway, continue, Ben.
Oh wait! Oh, okay. So yeah, I was just saying that I bought, like, the full, like, Kingdom Hearts collection, and I do intend to play it at some point, because the difference between Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts for me is Final Fantasy is turn-based and tons of hours, and I don't think I really want to do that. Whereas Kingdom Hearts is decently action-based and a lot of hours, so I think that could be fun. And I hear the story's pretty interesting, albeit convoluted, so I'm willing to give it a shot. And I'll give it an honest try, and who knows if I'll enjoy it. But
I pray for your sanity. That's all I will say.
I have it sitting on my PS4, and I haven't really touched it yet. So
well, yeah. Let me know. I'm curious. I might, like, watch you play it so I can say that I've experienced it, and then just never do it myself.
I mean, I don't know how you're gonna watch me play since it's on the PS4, but
I'll just come over or something one day.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I played the first two, kind of. I have vague memories of them, but I think it's definitely a game that adheres best to, like, a specific, like, group of people, and that group of people, I would say, are just they put intrigue in stories over structure. Yeah, it's like the structure of Kingdom Hearts games is not good, but if it is, however, an intriguing idea, and if that is what you put more stake in a story, I think that you'll enjoy it fine. By the way, I'm not saying either of those ways is better. I just see a lot of, like, critics that say that, like, Kingdom Hearts is bad because it doesn't, like, follow, like, traditional story structure, and I think that's a valid complaint. But I think there are like, plenty of people that were like, just something like that would just not bother them. So yeah, that's my that's something that's, like, could be interesting about, like, say, storytelling, is, like, which kind of what do you put the most, like, stake in storytelling? Because for me, it is always just the build up. Like, if you deliver on something that you initially, like, kind of set up, then I tend to like the story. Like, that's So that's my big thing. So like for me, I think that Kingdom Hearts does a decent job of that. It's it sets up its villains, and you do like eventually fight them. It's not like amongst like other things. So like I don't think that the story stuff would bother me too much if I were to play like 3 or any of the other Kingdom Hearts games. So if you feel like that wouldn't bother you either, like if you're like me and you put the most stake on the just the build up and the payoff, then I think you'll like Kingdom Hearts okay. But if you are someone that gets very annoyed by like just bad pacing and the just like constant like story elements that just seem to drag on forever, like if pacing is like a real like deal breaker for you, then I don't think you'll like it. Yeah.
You know, now that you bring that up, not to like take time from Ethan, but just want to make a little note here. Now that I've been playing more Japanese games as of late because I freaking love Japanese in general.
Mm-hmm.
You brought up like the whole like intrigue versus the build up and stuff. I realized, yeah, a lot of Japanese games, and I guess it's because culture wise, right? But like there's so many games, and Japan is so into their whole like otaku culture half the time for like that area, and they really have to fight to get anyone to play their game, right? It's a very, very small and very like what's it called, like compacted market basically. So to stand out at all, you have to have a lot of intrigue, and that kind of forces them to throw out the story half the time. And I think also culture wise, right? The way that they do it is that they just force all the intrigue at the beginning, and then make you play this 60-hour game, and so that by the time you're done with it, everything makes sense because they had to like tie up everything they did at the beginning, and that's kind of how they've set up a lot of their things, because even Death Stranding, I like the whole intrigue of the idea and what the hell was going on was kind of what got me into it. And the more you play, the more you uncover of it. Whereas, westernized games tend to start off with like, here's just a solid idea, and here's like the build up, like you said, right? And it builds up into like a final climactic point. You kind of know the gist of everything from the beginning. But Japanese games tend to be that kind of like, I have no idea what's going on, and it slowly becomes uncovered the further you play. Because I would say the same things for Dark Souls, right, Ben? Would you say something similar? I mean, I wouldn't say like the exact same thing, but like it's very like kind of all over the place at the beginning, right? Like you have a general guideline.
You don't. If you're new to Dark Souls, you are likely to have no idea what's going on.
Exactly, yeah, and that's kind of what Japanese games are. Because even like some of my favorite ones, like Nier Automata, I have no idea what's going on, and I'm like 20 hours in the game now. I'm still like, what the fuck is going on? But like through a little bit of dialogue and things like that, it's like, okay, it's slowly coming undone, but like it takes so much longer. And I think it's because of that, workaholic mindset that they kind of have, where if they get into a game, they get into it and they like trudge through this entire like minefield basically. So I think that might be kind of why those Japanese games are like that. But I don't know. It's an idea.
Do you think that's something that would bother you, Ben, with Kingdom Hearts?
I'm not sure because like kind of going off the thing with Elias said, I got into Dark Souls, and that's a game where it's decently drawn out because of the fact that it has like the challenge barrier first and foremost, and then also just the super vague and like just weird storyline. It's not really a storyline, it's just literally dropping you into a world and giving you bits of lore. So who knows, I might actually like it because the intrigue gets me. I think I tend to go off intrigue a lot. I don't know, because
knowing
for Dark Cloud 2, like that is one of my favorite PS2 games, and from the beginning, that one's decently straightforward, but it does get very layered later on. Mm-hmm. So for like half of it, I'm not entirely sure what exactly is going on or why things make sense the way they do. But then at the end, I'm just like, oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
And then same kind of thing. I mean, even with Dark Souls, like at the end, like, you do the whole Link the Flame thing, and I'm just like,
but
all right, what now?
Yeah. You're like, what?
Yeah. So I don't know. Who knows? I don't know if I'll like Kingdom Hearts until I try it. So
I give you like a 70-30 split, as in 70% you'll like it and 30% you won't. That's what I would say. But
I think so far I've played through like the beginning.
From what you've played and stuff, I think.
Yeah, I've played through the beginning, and like the beginning confused the hell out of me because like it was just that whole like you're in like the whole shadow thing, and then like you have to choose the sword, the shield, or whatever, and then like there's this whole it's your destiny thing, and then there's that thing where your friends are talking to you, and like you have to choose a specific like a choice to like personality trait or something. That's as far as I got. As I got past that, and then walked around the beach a little bit, and then quit. But yeah, but like that far in, I was like, this is super surreal.
Yeah. Just wait until the Disney characters show up.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know if I'll like it or not. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ethan, you said you had a thing that you put a pin in?
Yeah, thing I put a pin in. Video games are too damn long.
I agree.
And the thing is I totally understand a lot of people disagree with that, and I get it, because here's the thing. In fact, I'm working on this for an article right now. I took like the extended weekend because I've been grinding so damn hard because my finances have been awful recently, to just try and get some semblance of financial stability. And one of the articles that I was kind of writing about, because there was some news that broke over the past week from when we're recording this, of course, that like some like QA lead at CD Projekt Red was running through Cyberpunk 2077. He had like over 100 something hours, like over 120 hours in the game, and he still hadn't seen the credits yet. And the video game length debate kicked back up again. And the thing is like I totally understand that there's a lot of people out there that want to make sure that when they buy a AAA game, that they spend the $60 on the game, that they get something that's going to be fulfilling and that's going to last them a long time, and that they feel like they're going to get their full money's worth out of. And I cannot blame them for feeling that way. But there are times where games exceed that length. Don't get me wrong. I love The Witcher 3. I think The Witcher 3 is fantastic. But when I take a look at the stats for The Witcher 3, at the achievement stats, at least on Steam, 15% of people have finished The Witcher 3 on PC. 15%.
Yeah.
Let's see. How many people finished the DLC for Blood and Wine, the second DLC pack? How many people have finished? Let's see.
I guess 3%. 3%.
Let me find it. Oh my gosh, where the heck is it? And 15% apparently have finished that as well. Dang. So, yeah, here's the thing. That's 15% of people in a game that has sold millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of copies. Witcher 3 is one of the most financially successful Western RPGs to have ever been produced. Yet, less than a quarter of the people who play it have actually seen it to the credits. That's
insane.
It's ridiculous. And that's the thing that always just kind of bothers me about games, is that everyone wants to make the longest game ever, but very few people can actually find a way to make that content fulfilling. Now, in my opinion, you can make a very long game and have it have fulfilling content from beginning to end. I think The Witcher 3 does that the best. That's why I named it as my favorite game of the last console generation. Because yes, it's an extremely long RPG. Yes, it took me nearly 70 hours to finish it my first go around. But I had a fantastic time doing so, and I rarely ever ran into repetitive bullshit where I had to do the same thing over and over and over and over again just to like flesh out the playtime to make it look like it's more substantial than what it actually is. Witcher 3 has like two quest lines that run like that. Like there's one there, it's like fist fight challenges, and there's like horse racing. But that's it. Everything else, it's like it's its own unique thing. And yeah, I mean, like you can play Gwent too, but Gwent is so radically different on how it works, and there's so much variety in Gwent that no two Gwent games can really feel the same. So I can't even really say it for Gwent either. But here's the thing. I take a look at a game like Assassin's Creed, and like, as an example, I tried to play Assassin's Creed Syndicate, like, last year, I think. I got, like, the PS4 version of the game. I jumped into the game, and I took a look. I played through, like, a couple hours of the game, and then I took a look at the world map, and then all I see are just a shit-tillion icons of these repetitive tasks and stupid things to do over and over and over again. I looked at that map and I said, I'm not doing this. This is ridiculous. Because I know it's going to take me eons. And here's the thing. Like, not even, to 100% it, because I'm not hell if I'm going to 100% another Assassin's Creed game after Assassin's Creed 2. I did that one once. Hell if I'm going to do another one, but hell if I'm even going to finish a game that even is going to require me to do even some of this side stuff. Like, I can't even beeline the story because there are certain side quests and stuff that I have to do in these games. And it's ridiculous. I'm not going to spend 70 to 100 hours in your repetitive loot grind bullshit. There's a cutoff point. And the thing is that there's too many people, too many devs, too many publishers out there that think that longer is inherently better when it's not. When people need to understand that the people who have this disposable income, especially with the increase in game prices coming through, where AAA games are slowly creeping to be $70 now, even with that, who are the people who are not even semi-regularly buying these games? Tell me. Who? It's adults. It's people with jobs. It's people with lives. Yeah. There's going to be situations like what I had this weekend where I could just sit down and just grind through The Witcher 3 and finish the DLC within an extended weekend, a 5-day weekend. But everyone normally just has a 2-day weekend working on an 8 to an 8.5 hour work schedule 5 days a week, usually. And who the hell's going to have time to put all this time into this stuff? And that's where you get these, achievement discrepancies. And that's one value I find in achievements, where I can see, who the hell's actually finishing these things. And truth is, not a lot. Halo the Master Chief Collection, across both platforms, complete all campaigns on the heroic difficulty. Heroic difficulty. How many people have done that? 1%. 1% of anyone who has played Halo the Master Chief Collection across PC or Xbox have done that, and the game's been out since 2014. So, Halo gets a bit of a pass, though, because it's a compilation of a bunch of smaller games, but it still shows the philosophy of games that, expand and have so much that's put into it. Oftentimes, people aren't going to be able to see everything that it has to offer. And I find that, a big shame. Not like all that it has to offer in that, they grind to 100% completion, but even that they're going to get to the credits. Because again, I value The Witcher 3. I think it's an amazing game. And although I think it could have been a bit shorter, yeah, I still think it's an absolutely brilliant experience and I love it to death and it's great. But it makes me sad that only 15% of anyone who's played it has actually finished it. So, that, I guess that's my big thing. Video games are just too damn long. And I'm very glad, though, that the double A market, I guess as we call it, and the full-on indie scene do recognize that and produce cheaper, smaller games that you can finish, with relative ease, and that, it's not going to take, 60 hours to finish it. And I'm glad that we still have those. And it's those games that primarily I think are some of the most fulfilling and interesting. That's just how I feel. Again, I do like my big AAA, wankery nonsense every now and then. I certainly do. But hell, if even I fall victim to the whole, there's no way on God's green earth I'm actually going to finish this. So...
Yeah.
Do any of us actually disagree with that?
No, not really.
Not really.
I never really thought about it, to be honest. But now that he brings it up, it's like, yeah, you got a point. For most people, a game should be about the same length as a decently sized book. I would feel like, right? Like a couple
I'd say
hours
so.
of reading.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing. It's just shown in a different format. At least for most general population. For people, like us that play games a lot more, maybe the longer ones are a little bit okay. Because I'm not going to complain if a game takes me 30 hours to finish.
Yeah. If I play, sorry, real
Mm.
quick, if I play a game like The Witcher 3 that's like 70 hours long and I had fun playing it, I'm not going to complain, that like, oh, yeah, that was too. I do think it's still a little too long in places, but I still adore it. I'm not going to sit around and complain about its length. Sorry, you may continue.
You're good. I mean, it just depends on like how it's done, right? Because like Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I think took me 27 hours for me to finish the game first playthrough, and I was like, okay, that felt like a good length for that kind of game, right? Now I can go 100% if I want to spend 70 hours, but like the story itself took me 27 hours, which is, I think, a good length for that kind of game. And it never felt like anything was super repetitive. Like there's a few repetitive sections where like, oh, it's the same kind of thing, right? But like it made sense for how the story was going,
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, oh, go find me 20,000 eggs now and like come back for some stupid reason. I was like, okay, cool. It's just like, oh, you can do these side challenges if you want, but main story's this way. Continue just doing the story, and like it developed like a book. It was as if I'm reading a book just in game form, right? So, yeah, I guess like you said, for most people, the general population in the indie game scene does a really good job of that, making it about the length of a book. Because I think one of my favorite games that I had played that wasn't in the last freaking gen thing I put it was Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. That game was such a good game. Literally takes 2 hours to play. That's it.
Yep.
2 hours. And I got my mom
That's
and my
it.
sister to play it. And my mom absolutely adored it. And she hates games most of the time, And she loved it because it was nice and short and to the point. And it said what it needed to say, and that was it. And so now that you bring that up, yeah, games are way too long.
Yeah, no, and I played, when I played,
Portal, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. When I played What Remains of Edith Finch with my family, that game ran like 90 minutes to 2 hours long, and
it's like a movie, yeah.
Yeah, and I felt again that was the perfect length for a walking simulator of that type. There's obviously more to it than just walking around, but again, more people. There's definitely a lot of value in shorter experiences, and one of the things that I hate seeing is that a lot of people discount shorter games by thinking that it's not worth their time and their money, when that could be the opposite from the truth. I saw a lot of people complain about Titanfall 2, its campaign, only running around 4 hours. It's a really short campaign, but Call of Duty campaigns are the exact same length and sell for $60 as well, but nobody complains about those. So don't know where the double standard is coming from, but suck my ass. But Titanfall 2 has arguably one of the greatest first-person shooter campaigns of the past, console generation. In fact, one of the best first-person shooter campaigns I've ever played. But it's like a 4 to 5 hour campaign, and it's done and over with, and it just doesn't overstay its welcome, and it's done, and you can then just move on to the multiplayer, and that's great. And no, I love it for that. I think it's frankly fantastic. So, again, the argument kind of goes both ways in that I think people complain too much about games being short when we really should be looking at games being too long, because frankly, most people don't finish a lot of these games from people who just squeeze out, wring out absolutely all the repetitive nonsense that they can to get you playing the game as long as you can.
I think a good example of a game that kind of of a franchise that fell victim to that pretty hardcore was actually The Last of Us, because the first Last of Us game, like with the play style and the story, like it only needed like 10 to 12 hours. Like that was like the perfect length for it. Last of Us Part 2, as much as like I did enjoy it, it does very much seem overlong.
Yeah.
And I think it honestly could have been half the length that it was, honestly, and still 100%. And like honestly been better.
Yeah, that was one of my biggest complaints. I said at the very, very least it could have been at least 5 hours shorter.
Yeah, I feel like they could have chopped it off. I feel like if they could have chopped off the whole California section, ended it in like some type of way at the barn, and then I would have been happy.
That would have been perfect. Because I remember I got to that part. I'm like, oh, cool, the barn. And then Tommy walked in. I'm like, no, don't tell me there's more. And then as soon as that whole scene happened, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to keep playing this. And then the game kind of felt like that, because you get to the California section, And so like, oh yeah, it's kind of the part, like the game felt like it just didn't matter at that point, and like they didn't care about the game at that point because it just everything felt so rushed and like almost nothing
it
happened.
felt padded.
Yeah, and I sat there like, okay, cool. So you didn't care about this part either. I mean, it was. I don't know. The ending is still kind of iffy for me, but like I just ended at the barn and made the California thing separate because it could have been separate. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway.
And plus, like the whole thing with like right before that being like, you know, you're playing as Abby and you're rushing through the burning village and stuff like that, and then there's like the showdown with Ellie at the theater. It's like that was a really good climactic point to where you could have ended things right there, or at least started to wrap up things. But yeah, they had to carry it a little longer, and that's I think a good example of a game or a franchise that fell victim to the longer game equals better for people.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't honestly agree with that mindset. So I agree with you, Ethan, on that. Is that it's games do need to be shorter.
Yeah, one of the best pieces of advice I've heard is that when you're writing, if after your like say third draft, like look at your current length and make it 20% shorter, because that means you always bring it back to just the core like appeal, and you eliminate everything that is filler or just not doesn't really contribute to the overall feel.
Yeah. So everybody, we're getting close to time. Typically we like to try to keep these under 2 hours, and we're getting a bit close to that. I just wanted to do a final call for any last quick takes that anyone wanted, just stuff they just wanted to yell out, hot takes they wanted to scream before we were done today.
I don't think Ben said anything. Do you have anything, Ben?
Not really.
You agree with them. You agree for the most part.
Yeah, pretty. I was like that was just good. I was gonna say one last little thing. Even like not finishing the game, because you were saying like 15% of people had finished The Witcher, right? I don't remember what game it was. I have to go look at it again. But like I would look through some of my games on Steam, and it's funny because you would see, oh, you get the first achievement for like completing level 1 or something. It's like, oh, 90% of people have gotten this. It's like, okay, cool. Some people just kind of got the game and played it. And then like the second achievement for like, oh, get past the second level of this game or whatever was like 40% of people. And I was like, huh? Like, I don't know. I feel like most people just, like you said, just don't want to play for very long. Because like that second achievement, I think only took like 4 hours to get to or something.
Yeah, and I mean,
by that point they already dropped the game, and I'm like, wow, like it went from 90 to 40. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, and there's always, instances of weird, like, drop-offs in achievement percentages as well. Like, you don't really see it when a game first comes out, when you take a look at the achievement statistics, but when, say, you get, like, free games with gold or free games with PS Plus, and when, like, major Steam sales happen on big games, and then that's when you start seeing a lot of percentages get even a little more, like, wacky. Yeah. That's when you kind of start seeing stuff like that. So, and even then, like, because even with like free games with gold and even like Steam sales, I mean, we all have Steam libraries, games within our Steam libraries or on our Xbox or PlayStation or our Switch or whatever that we've had, and we've had it for, maybe months or years on end, and still haven't touched it yet. Maybe we booted it up once, but we never like 5 years ago, and we haven't booted it back up since. So, again, it's achievement statistics. Achievement statistics are certainly not like 100% fallible, but they give you enough data that you could be like, again, like only 15% of people finish this game. That's a bit of a problem. So, Yeah. Well, I think that might conclude it then for all of us today. Yeah, no, had a lot of fun. I like this. We'll think of something really fun to discuss next time, and then we'll get running there. Maybe we might even find a mutual game to play real soon, and we'll all just discuss that one game.
I'm down for that. Yeah.
We need to figure out on what we want to do.
If anyone's
I'm still voting Rogue Warrior. I'm still voting Rogue Warrior.
Like a short game.
Rogue Warrior. It's like 2 hours long. Play Rogue Warrior.
Really bad game you told us about last time? Or?
Yes, it's excellent. And there's that Steam sale going on right now. Is it on sale? Let me look. I need to look. Yeah, let's see. It's normally $5, but like, so it's already super cheap.
For 2 hours of gameplay,
it's a $1.50. It's a $1.50. It's a $1.50. Buy it.
We're all gonna get this. Yeah, we're all gonna get this.
I'm gonna get it. Yeah,
sounds good.
Yes, I'm so happy. It's $1.50. I am. Okay, next week. That's what we're doing. We're discussing Rogue Warrior. So I'll play through Rogue Warrior again, and I'll have a total blast doing so. And I cannot wait. Yes. All right. So I guess we'll just we'll run the plugs. So I'll go first because I have the most, and it's just best to get this obnoxious stuff done and over with. Once again, your boy host, Sir Ethan here. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SirKBO. Additionally, I am writing on Letterboxd, Medium, and backlogged underneath Sir Kwijibo, SirKwyjibo. And then if you look at my Medium stuff, I get paid for that. It's like pennies, but it's something. And then lastly, I'm still writing for Comic Book Resources. I have a slew of new articles out, and if you go and you read those, I get kickback for them. And that really helps me a ton because they pay me more than Medium, even though they barely pay me anything at all. So it's still money I otherwise wouldn't have, and I keep forgetting to share the links to my articles in this Discord server, and I will make sure to do that immediately. But that should do it for me. I think that's all my nonsense. Go whoever's next. Whoever wants to go.
I'll go.
I don't care.
Find me at ArtStation. I am Andrew Langston. I think that I should do better with this, but the URL I think is just Andrew Langston /ArtStation. But so yeah, if you want to commission me, email me at andrewlangstonart@gmail.com, and yeah, and we can talk prices.
Cool.
I'll probably
and then
yeah, go ahead.
You can find me at Letterboxd and backlogged at Thunderfellow. I'm not as active as Ethan, but every once in a while I'll pop out a little short review. So yeah.
All right, and then you can find me on SoundCloud under, I think it's just my name, Elias Fernandez, or EFA is the shortened thing of it. I actually just recently released a little mini album thing that I wrote in a week, so it was a fun little challenge. And then I've been debating I might be streaming on Twitch under ElistixRL. And what I'm planning to do with that is actually doing a full Japanese stream. So like trying to practice my Japanese, play games in Japanese, do everything. So I'll see if I work up the courage to do that, but we'll see.
All right, sounds great.
Awesome. Cool. And I'll make sure to get the links from everybody for all this stuff, and we'll maybe even create a link tree or something for everybody's stuff, just so that it's all looks all nice and clean in the description. And again, you can find these links in the description of the podcast itself, as well as on our SoundCloud page. Follow us and retweet our track, I guess is whatever it's called, or repost, whatever the hell it's called, like it, whatever. Apparently if you beg for likes and stuff, it actually works. At least it does on YouTube, so hopefully it does here. Give us the big attention and
look at graph.
Look at graph. I want to look at graph and see big number. Make me happy. Big number, big happy. All right, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.